Hi folks, my name's Andy and welcome to Portable Gaming's special edition here today. So normally I'm talking about games that are fun to play in pubs and cafes, but today I'm going to get on the bandwagon, join in all the cool kids, and I'm going to do a top 10 games. And that's particularly top 10 games that I might want to play during some kind of gaming marathon to celebrate the Dice Tower 24-hour gaming marathon. Alright, so these lists pretty much just spitball from my head there, so let's kind of see what's going on with that. I'm also, because I'm doing a top 10 and I'm kind of trying to fit in with all the cool kids, I'm going to do it in front of the shelf of games, which is fun. Ironically, what's quite nice is that this camera is resting on another shelf of games, because that's just what this room exists to do, which is kind of nice. Anyway, so let's get started here with number 10. So, 10 is Firefly. Now, the reason Firefly might be one of my games I want to play in a marathon session is simple. I've owned this game about 7 years now. Oh, pretty much whenever it came out. I don't actually know when it came out. I can't see the year, so let's just pretend. I've owned this game since it came out, and I have never finished a game. I have tried so hard to finish a game of this game, and never managed it because time has just ran away from us. So if I'm sitting down to do a 24-hour game, I'm going to play Firefly for that full 24 hours if that's what it takes, but hopefully not. Because it's a really good game. It's a really fun pick up and deliver game, which I really like. Especially things like pick up and deliver games, or games like Firefly, which really try to encapsulate you in a universe. And this is a really good recreation of the Firefly universe, which is, to be fair, one of my favourite fictional universes of all time. And playing it really gets you in the thing. There's so many references to the show, to the movie, not the comics now because they came out afterwards, but all the art is really good and really evokes it. The money's fantastic, the models are great. And yeah, a marathon would be probably the perfect time to actually finish a game. So that's why that is my number 10 on games that I'd like to play at a top 10 marathon. Okay, so my number 9 is we're going to stick with the pick up and deliver franchise mechanism, and we're going to go with possibly my favourite, possibly the best pick up and deliver game I think that's out on the market that I've played, and that is Wasteland Express Delivery Service, which is just out of frame, but trust me, it's here. This game is brilliant. It is everything that I love about Firefly, but just better. I bought it partly on the strength of the fact that the art is done by Riccardo Baccelli, who was the incredible artist for the comic book DMZ, which you might be able to see in frame. I don't know, but if you can't, if you haven't read it, you should read it. It's amazing, if a slightly troubling look at what our future might look like. But it's brilliant, and the game is so evocative. It's so full of theme. I talked in Firefly about how I like a game that brings you into a world, and Wasteland Express Delivery Service really does that. The first time I played this with some friends of mine who are my usual gaming group, one of the players got really annoyed that we ended the game because he'd lost track of trying to win the game and had just got fully engrossed into being like this truck driver in the post-apocalypse and wasn't bothered about achieving the big goals. He was just enjoying the fact he'd got this really cool run going between a couple of different cities, and he'd built up a really cool truck and he really wanted to see what he could do with it. And if I was playing on a marathon session, I'd potentially do that. I might even say, we will extend the win condition, so we have to go longer, or we'll set a timer and we'll see how much we can do before we have to start looking at win conditions and things, and just live in that world, because it's such a beautifully realised world, and it drives me mad that there isn't more of it. Please, somebody, whoever, if Gilmore, if you're watching this, release more cards. Just more events. That's all I want. That's all I want. Anyway, that's my number 9 on games that I would play in a marathon. Okay, game 8 on my list is actually a dual one. I'm going to cheat a bit, but it's my list, do what I want. And because on this, I've so far covered 2 big, kind of meaty, long games. So when you're playing a gaming marathon, you want some small games you can just pick up, throw about, enjoy, not worry too much about it. Maybe somebody wants to go make some dinner, or to take a little rest, go to the bathroom, what have you. And so the games I'm talking about are Zombie Dice and Chupacabra Dice, or basically anything in the Steve Jackson dice game family. Reason being, simple as anything. You just pick up those dice, you just sling those bones, and you have some fun. They are nice, they are easy, it makes life fun. You would use those to kind of break up the tension. Maybe if you're playing a game with elimination, which I try not to play, you can play those as side games. If you're playing right over the night, the Glow in the Dark Dice, Chupacabra Dice will be quite fun, especially when you're a little bit tired. Although if you turn off the lights at that point, it is a bit of a sleep risk, so you got to be careful if you're doing a 24-hour marathon like the guys are now, who, by the way, you are all getting very sleepy. No, you're not, seriously. But that would be my number 8 pick, and that is Steve Jackson Dice Games. Really fun. Anyway, next number. So, number 7 on my list is appropriately numbered, and this wasn't entirely deliberate, but I do kind of like it, which is Level 7 Omega Protocol, which I'm gesturing to, but it's totally out of frame. And the reason for this is, again, I've played this a couple of times and it takes a while. It's a great game. For those who don't know, it is a 1v many sort of dungeon crawler, but it's one of the best out there. It's so good. I've played this a couple of times with some friends, and we've played like one mission, and it's taken a couple of hours. And the idea to sit down and do that and use like the full campaign setting and try and go through a couple of missions and do the kind of the character growth that happens with that, and trying that on and getting to know your opponents really well as you're playing through, it would be so much fun. I don't get enough of a chance to play it. I've just got the second edition rules and just arrived from the Kickstarter. I'm really excited to play those. And honestly, I've played quite a few 1v many games now, and I don't think I've played anything which has such a great system as the adrenaline system in that game. I just really want to play it more, and life gets in the way. So if I'm having a marathon, you bet I'm playing that game. So that's my number 7. That is Level 7 Omega Protocol. All right. Okay, so my number 6 is another big kind of inhabit a world game. And it's a game I've only played a couple of times since I got it, and I really want to spend some time with it, to be fair. But I feel like a marathon where you've got no time limits, you just want to kind of fully involve yourself in it. It's the perfect time. And that's Xia Legends of a Drift System. So much like Wasteland Express Delivery Service, we're just going to craft a world you can live in, having a big, long, like multiple hour game of Xia, where you're all just exploring that full galaxy and just really getting involved in it. And maybe not even trying to win, not trying to grief each other, but just trying to exist in that. Like playing a multiplayer game of Elite Dangerous on a table would be amazing. And it's got all the great ships and it's got all the great things you can do, and just spending that time just letting it breathe, maybe taking a step away from it, just appreciating what's going on and diving in. And I feel like it's the perfect thing to go when you know you've got no time limits. It's what I deem a Sunday afternoon game, where you've got like just a full afternoon to do nothing. So you play that game and just seep in it. Seep in it? That's an awful expression. But I'm going to keep it in. Who cares? But Xia, that's the game I think I'd like to take at my number 6. All right. Better than I am. Anyway, number 5. So number 5, we're going back to another fun one here, and that is the excellent 5-Minute Dungeon. So 5-Minute Dungeon, for those who haven't played it, is a fantastic real-time card game, which you and your players are trying to throw down cards to try and beat the monsters that are being revealed in the deck. And this deck gets bigger, and you play through more monsters the more games you play, and everything's done real-time out of 5 minutes. So this is great. It is light fun. Almost anybody can play it if they can like move the cards fast enough. It is frantic. It's crazy. And what it'll do on a marathon is it'll throw in a shot of adrenaline into the night. So I remember playing this once. We were playing a games night with friends. We had a couple of games. It was getting late. We were all a bit tired, but we didn't want to go home yet. We wanted to play one more game. So ooh, let's try 5-Minute Dungeon. I was skeptical at first when it was pitched, but I brought it. I thought, let's give it a go. And we were just enlivened. The adrenaline, the risk, the fright, the scare, the tension, just throwing those cards down and trying to find the pause and using all your things and searching through your hand, just got everybody pumped and amped up. And we had like 4 games off the bat because we were just so ready to go. And it was great because it gave me enough energy to drive home safely. Do not drive tired, kids. It is bad for you. But it is brilliant, and it's the kind of thing you'd have there in reserve, just like shuffling up those decks like everyone's getting tired. Do it. So it's going to do one of 2 things. You're either going to play it and you're going to be really tired and it's going to perk you up, and you'll be really tired, it's going to knock you out. Either way, it's a risk worth taking, and that's why it's my number 5. Number 4. Number 4, again, is another light game, and it's another dual spot, because I think I'd take both of these in this kind of gaming thing. And that is the combination of combination or choice of Cockroach Poker or Dobble. Dobble, or I think it's called like What's That or Spot That or something in America, I don't know, we call it Dobble here, is a weird little game in which it involves like matching. It's kind of like Snap, but it's like 4 or 5 different variants of Snap. But I played this at a house party recently because I bought it on somebody's recommendation. It was on sale, it was great, and we had so much fun. We tried all the different variants, and again, a bit like 5-Minute Dungeon, it got everybody a little bit jazzed up because there's a lot of speed and fastness and reactions to it. And again, it'd be a nice fun one to kind of get people going, maybe turn people's brains back on a little bit. Doesn't require too much thought, but does require a little bit of attention. And Cockroach Poker, that kind of slightly slow burn, doesn't require too much thought per se, but it does require a bit of like consideration, and it would be a nice thing for a bit of downtimes to play that through, get a bit of fun out of that one. And yeah, I wouldn't necessarily make them my first choices. They're only so high on this list because I wanted to start with some games I wanted to talk about more. But those guys would probably go in the game bag ready to just spice up the night or just stretch it out the right way, just as you need it. Anyway, that's my number 4, Cockroach Poker / double in a double play. Because it's my list, I can do what I want. Got sanctioned for Tom for that. Anyway. Okay. So, number 3 on my list is one of my favourite games, I think, of all time. And it's a game that I take pretty much any game night just to try and get a game of it in. And that is the excellent Not Alone. So the reason I wanted this on a marathon is this game it can be a marathon game or it can be a sprint game. It can be done like that or it can take a while. But what would be beautiful is giving everybody a chance to try out. It's a 1v many hidden movement trait and mechanic-y game. And giving everybody a chance to try and take part and swap things over just would be so much fun. I played this last time at a games night and I got a lot of abuse for being a really good alien because I won like by one turn and it was amazing. But it'd be great. You could do that in the middle of the bigger games. You could do that sort of like just whenever, really. That could be the opening, that could be the last game. If you've had a really, really rough night of games, it could be a really horrible one with just kind of catching people out. But it's fun. It gets everybody a chance to kind of play together. Brings that little bit of cooperativeness. Not a lot of cooperatives in here, really. But 1v manys, which is weird. But yes, Not Alone, I think it's an amazing game, which I've said a few times now. And it'd be really good for a marathon. That's why it's my number 3. 2. So my number 2 is partly picked, not necessarily the number 2 pick in terms of how good they are, but it's just a mechanic I've not represented much in this list, and it's one of my favourites, so I'm surprised I haven't. And that's a deck builder. So I was just struggling, and I think the deck builder I'm going to settle on will be Clank. So Clank's an amazing game. It's got that cool space element with the deck builder. It's got that great race mechanic. Obviously, it doesn't take long to play a game of Clank, but we have a set here somewhere. I thought it was behind me. Is it? I don't know. There it is. Don't want to keep looking. This is not important, but I'm going to do it anyway. So Clank, we have all of the maps that are available now. I think there's one clamshell map that we haven't had a chance to get yet. Got the Acquisition Incorporated, make minis and stuff. There's so many different cards. You'd take multiple games to see them all. And we could play through different maps, maybe make a mini campaign of our own. I've not played the Legacy version. But it's great fun. It gets the brain kind of stimulated a bit. A game can last as long as you want if you try and go for a big clean sweep, or it can be rushed and play through a few. And it's just a brilliant game. And it's the kind of game I would definitely like to play during something like that, to break things up a bit, try something a bit different. Everything else has been very big and deep, and this is more tactical and fun. And it's just a great game. So that is Clank. It is my number 2 pick. So, before I pick my number 1, I want to go for an honourable mention of a kind of game that I'd perhaps want to put in a ridiculous marathon. Not necessarily because it's a great game, but because it requires little to no thought, and it is just... It's possibly either going to be much worse or much better the later on in a long sort of 24-hour marathon might be. And that's one of the black card, white card, cards against humanity style things. I mean, don't judge me for this. I've had this for parties or for certain kinds of gatherings, so there's definitely not going to be many gamers, and we can have those just in case. But my personal favourite would be Joking Hazard. I love the fact that you can tell stories with that, and I feel like those games stop being funny after a while. But if you're incredibly sleep deprived, they may be a lot funnier. They would not be something I'd want to lead with, nor end with if I could. But I'd be remiss if I wouldn't say that those aren't worth having there in a big long gaming marathon, just as some complete ridiculous palate cleanser. Joking Hazard, again, particularly Super Fight, I own, I haven't had a chance to play yet, but the idea of having those ridiculous debates, again, while maybe 20 hours into a 24-hour gaming spree, could be a lot of fun to see just how crazy the mind goes into those things. So that's my honourable mention before my number 1 pick, which is the kind of party game, white card, black card kind of thing. Okay, soon, number 1. So here we are, folks. I would say long awaited. I feel like this might have felt like a long time for you guys, but I don't care. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it, and you all probably hate me now, but who cares? And so anyway, number 1. My number 1 pick, number 1 for the dice. Number 1 is possibly one of my favourite games of all time, and that is Dungeon Lords. I keep looking away because I keep looking. It's right in my eye line. Dungeon Lords by Vlaada Chvátil is an amazing game. So one of the reasons, a quick bit of background, one of the reasons I had this, so one of my favourite video games growing up, and one of my favourite video games of all time, is the game Dungeon Keeper, an old PC god sim where you were looking at controlling a dungeon, fighting off heroes and destroying rival keepers. Maybe the guys who made Theme Park and Theme Hospital, and I loved it. We got it by accident when I was a kid, and I played like every year for like 10 years, at least once, and I've played it again recently a few years ago, and I'm going to probably play it again after talking about it today, and it's amazing. Now, why am I talking about this? Dungeon Lords does so little to hide the fact that it clearly is just trying to be Dungeon Keeper, but on a tabletop. And that's amazing. I found it by Googling games that are like Dungeon Keeper, and they were like, yeah, Dungeon Lords. It's just Dungeon Keeper. And it's amazing. It's so good. Vlaada Chitalis is a genius. The game is split into two halves. One half is this really cool worker placement game where you're all fighting over the standard worker placement spots to try and get the resources you need to build up your dungeon. The second half is you then using your dungeon and defending it against a band of attacking heroes who you may have made worse by the fact you've got certain things during your building step, and it's amazing. And you play through, and while it's so cutthroat trying to get the places you need on those worker placement spots, because not only are they all giving you different things, but they don't always work in that the first person gets the best thing, so you want to hope somebody else gets something so you can get the better thing, and it's so good. But when it comes to the actual dungeon fight section, you aren't really fighting each other, you're being fought yourself, and you're doing your best to kind of... I've played this loads as a 2-player, and we've spent more time trying to help each other, like, tactically battle our way through that dungeon than try to beat each other, because it's just so much fun, and you don't want to see your dungeon get destroyed. I mean, it's a brutal game, but the fact the rulebook says if you get something above negative points, you've done well, which I love. But it's so good. Every action is so thematic. It is dripping with humour. The rulebook is the best rulebook I've ever read by far. It's one of the first rulebooks I ever opened up the box and read cover to cover, not to learn the game, just because it was an entertaining read. It recommends the box says about 2 hours. I think the first time we played it was about 3 hours. The second time we played it was about 2.5. And the idea of playing a game or two of that on a big, like, massive marathon day would be amazing. It'd be the perfect time to just delve in, just fully enjoy it. Honestly, I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. It's one of my favourite games, and that's why if I had to do a gaming marathon, it'd be my number one pick to take, and that is Dungeon Lords. Anyway, folks, that's my list. Thank you very much for joining in. I hope that I haven't put you to sleep during this marathon if you're staying up all 24 hours like the guys are. I hope the guys are doing well. If you've enjoyed this top 10 list and this other kind of content, let me know. I might do some more. Otherwise, thanks very much. I'll see you back on Board Game Breakfast, and you guys enjoy the rest of the marathon. Thanks.